Hannah stared at the coat like it might disappear. I can't, she said automatically. It's yours. The man smiled faintly. He looked to be in his mid-30s, hair damp from the rain, wearing a wrinkled dress shirt and loosened tie like he'd just left work. I've got another one at home, he replied. You need it more right now. She hesitated. Every instinct screamed to protect herself, to refuse charity, to maintain dignity. But her teeth were chattering. Slowly, she reached out and took it. The warmth hit her almost instantly as she slipped it on. It was heavy, insulated, smelling faintly of cedar and laundry detergent. It felt like safety. Thank you, she whispered, her voice cracking. He nodded. I'm Daniel. Hannah. They stood in awkward silence for a moment, rain tapping against pavement. You waiting for the bus? He asked. She looked down. Not really. The honesty surprised even her. Daniel didn't push. There's a 24-hour diner 2 blocks from here. Bright lights. Hot coffee. You don't have to talk to me. Just don't stand in the storm. She studied him carefully. His eyes weren't impatient. They weren't predatory. Just concerned. I'm not asking you to get in my car, he added quickly. I'll walk ahead. You can follow 20 feet behind if you want. A small, reluctant smile tugged at her lips. Okay, she said quietly. They walked through puddles, keeping distance like strangers sharing the same sidewalk. True to his word, he didn't try to close the space between them. Inside the diner, warmth wrapped around her like a second chance. Daniel ordered coffee and slid a menu toward her. Get something, he said. I don't have. I know, he interrupted gently. I do. Hannah swallowed hard. Why? Daniel paused. Because, he said slowly, 5 years ago, I was the one standing in the rain. Her breath caught. He wasn't rescuing her. He was remembering himself. The diner smelled like pancakes and burnt toast. Hannah hadn't realized how hungry she was, until the waitress set down a plate of scrambled eggs and toast in front of her. Her hands trembled, not from cold this time, but from emotion. Daniel stirred his coffee. I lost everything in 2019, he said quietly. Job. Apartment. My dad passed the same month. Hannah listened carefully. I was too proud to ask for help, he continued. One night I slept in my car during a snowstorm. A woman knocked on my window at a gas station, handed me a blanket and a $20 bill. She didn't stay, didn't ask questions. He looked up at her. That 20 bought me enough gas to drive to my cousin's place in Indiana. That blanket probably saved my life. Hannah blinked back tears. I never got to thank her, Daniel said. So I promised myself, if I ever saw someone in that position, I wouldn't look away. Silence stretched between them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was understanding. Hannah finally spoke. I lost my job today. And my apartment. Daniel nodded slowly. Do you have somewhere to go tonight? She shook her head. He exhaled thoughtfully. My sister runs a small community center downtown. They help with temporary housing and job placement. It's not fancy, but it's safe. Hannah's instinct was to refuse, but something inside her was tired of surviving alone. Okay, she whispered. An hour later, Daniel introduced her to his sister, Maria, a warm woman with sharp eyes and a firm handshake. We've got a room, Maria said simply. Short term. No pressure. We just help people get back on their feet. That night, Hannah lay in a clean, dry bed. The coat hung over the chair beside her. For the first time in weeks, she wasn't shivering. And for the first time in years, she let herself believe that maybe rock bottom wasn't the end. Maybe it was the place where kindness found you. Weeks turned into something steadier. Maria helped Hannah polish her resume. Daniel connected her with a freelance client who needed branding work. Slowly, small payments started trickling in. Hannah worked late into the night in the community center's shared office space, pouring everything she had into every project. She didn't want pity. She wanted purpose. One afternoon, Maria burst into the room holding her phone. You need to see this. A national non-profit organization had posted an urgent call for designers to help rebrand their homelessness awareness campaign. Apply, Maria urged. Hannah hesitated. They'll never pick me. Let them decide that, Daniel said from the doorway. So she applied. 2 weeks later, she received an email that made her hand shake. She got the contract. It wasn't just work, it was visibility. Her designs would be seen across major cities, including Chicago and New York. The campaign slogan she created was simple: "Don't look away." When the billboards went up, Hannah stood across the street staring at her work towering above traffic. A woman in the image stood in the rain, shivering. But in the corner of the design, a hand reached out holding a coat. Daniel stood beside her quietly. "You turned it into something bigger," he said. Hannah shook her head softly. "You did. I just told the story." News outlets picked up the campaign. Donations to shelters increased. Volunteers signed up. One evening, during a local interview, the reporter asked her, "What inspired this design?" Hannah didn't hesitate. "A stranger who refused to look away," she answered. Daniel, watching from the side of the stage, felt his throat tighten. He had only handed her a coat, but she had turned it into a movement. 6 months later, rain fell again over Chicago. But this time, Hannah wasn't standing alone beneath a broken bus stop. She stood beside a newly installed, weatherproof shelter funded by the non-profit campaign. Inside were blankets, emergency numbers, and donated coats hanging neatly on hooks. Above it, a sign read, "Take one, leave one, stay warm." Daniel adjusted one of the hooks while Maria handed out coffee to a small group, gathered under the shelter. Hannah placed a brand new winter coat on the rack. She ran her fingers over the fabric, remembering. A young teenage girl stood nearby, drenched, hugging her backpack tightly. Hannah recognized that look instantly. Without hesitation, she stepped forward and gently removed the coat from the rack. "Hey," she said softly. "You look freezing." The girl looked up cautiously. Hannah held out the coat. "Take it," she said. For a brief second, time felt circular. The rain still fell. The world still rushed by. But kindness stood still long enough to matter. The girl slipped on the coat, eyes wide with relief. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Hannah smiled through tears. "Because someone once helped me." Across the street, Daniel watched the exchange quietly. He realized something powerful in that moment. Kindness doesn't end with the person who receives it. It travels. It grows. It becomes something larger than the original act. Hannah stepped back under the shelter, rain misting around her. She wasn't shivering anymore. She wasn't lost anymore. And somewhere out there, another stranger would one day hand someone else a coat. Not because they had to, but because someone once refused to look away.